Hi guys, Aceface back with another video for you. I've got another battle report. I've got a very special battle report because I'm joined by my good friend Ryan. Drinking a beer, chilling out.
I am drinking a beer, chilling out.
And as you can probably tell, he is an American. That's right. He's come all the way just to play on the channel. You know, that's how big the channel is now, guys. No, Ryan's over on his holidays. I met him at the LVO, and he gave me a pasting with his dirty rotten towel and demonkin. So just because of that sacrilege, I've made sure he's come all the way over to the UK, and I'm going to try and beat him with my Tyranids. But unfortunately, I've made him quite a nasty list. So I've given him my very first outing of the Murder Horde. So he is rocking 8 units of 5 Flesh Hounds and a Herald with all sorts of kit to basically make him so he hits on 2s and he pretty much wounds on 2s with bag loads of attacks. He also has a D-Thirster. He has Karanak as his auxiliary choice, and the D-Thirster is a CAD with 2 units of Bloodletters, and he has a greater reward on the D-Thirster as well. So it's pretty simple, but bag loads of attacks, very aggressive, tons of unit, and obviously they have the corruption rule, so that's going to be pretty nasty. I am running a very simple, fun, we've both gone for fun. This is 1500 points by the way, and this is just run at each other and see what dies. So I've got leading the force, the Mighty Swarm Lord. He wants to cause some trouble. So he's there. I've got a Flying Hive Tyrant with Twin Link Devourers, but only one, so don't judge me. And we've got a Malanthrope sitting in the elite slot. He's going to be a fat lot of good with no shooting against me, but he's going to sit there anyway. And then we have 3 units of Gene Stealers. One's a 6-man unit with a Broodlord, the other 2 are just bare bones 5-man unit. And then we have the Gene Stealer Cult formation, because it's good fun, and we've got that out. So it's a lot of assault. There's not really much shooting in this game, not much anything apart from just smashing each other in the face. We're playing ITC Mission 2, I believe, which is the Relic. So the Relic's sitting there in the middle, and we've got 2 objectives each. So we've got one objective that's down here by the Hounds, and we have one objective right down the other side by those ruins. And that's more or less it. At the moment I am going first, so I will try and see whether I can keep that, because I really do not want him turning round, because I have infiltrated the big man behind his Bloodletters to try and cause some early pressure. But you can see the deployment is pretty much facing up against each other. In a minute Ryan will get the opportunity to scout, but yeah, it's going to be brutal, it's going to be a bloodbath. This is a very casual, easy game, so I'll just do turn recaps, because we're going to be too busy drinking beer and just having a good time. I hope you enjoy this one, guys, and in a minute we'll see whether Ryan wants to seize. Okay, so scout moves have happened. Sorry about the glare, but it's pretty hot, so I've put the curtains up, so apologies for that. It's not quite as crisp as normal. But basically, scout moves, the Hounds have come up and they are on the Relic at the moment, have tainted the Relic. The other Hounds have dashed up on the far side there into those woods. And there's a little bit of adjustment to make sure all these guys benefit from the bonuses from the Herald, which he has bag loads of buffs. So that's pretty much it at the moment. So it's going to get bloody, but before we go on, let's see who gets the first bite. So we'll see whether Ryan, you want to seize the initiative.
Let's do this.
He's going to go for it.
Oh,
so close, so close. So we will go on to turn 1 for Tyranids and see what we can do. Right, okay, so end of turn 1 for Tyranids. Not a very good turn, to be honest, but never mind. So basically, everything moved up. We tried to just get as aggressive and as far forward as possible. The guys over here, we took some snapshots at the Hounds, and then kind of moved up on the offensive. These guys moved to try and put some pressure on the Hounds on the Relic. These guys, the ones that weren't heavies, they moved forward. We took some snapshots on the Herald there, but managed to take out one Hound with basically the las cannon, the mining cannons, which took the first casualty at least. The Flyrant flew right over the top, took some shots on the big old D-Thirster. I took 1 wound off, but no other damage done. In the psychic phase, I got Feel No Pain off on these Gene Stealers, which was quite handy. And that was more or less it, to be fair, as far as psychic powers and abilities. Then in the assault phase, these guys here charged in against the hounds, and even with a bag load of attacks, still managed to hang in there with one hound, which is a bit of a killer, because that would have been my first strike.
Lucky rolls, lucky rolls.
Yeah, cheese. I've given him too much of a strong army. Yeah, I'm just telling you now, guys. I'm being too kind as a guest. That's what it is. And then over here, my patriarch charging against the bloodletters. Thought it was the softest kill, but unfortunately I had to go through cover. And the crafty little Yank here decided to move his herald in range to give himself the extra attacks. So he cut down all of my stealers and the patriarch before I got a strike, because I went through cover. So at the moment he's feeling pretty happy with himself, and I'm feeling like I've already made a schoolboy error. But never mind. So the Florence in the air, and the Swarmlord is making his advance on the enemy. So we'll see what happens now as we go into turn 1 for Daemons. Okay, so end of Demon turn 1. It's brutal. I've given Ryan too much of a tough list. I've decided now. I'm not happy. I'm going to have a whinge. I'm going to get salty. Starting to get salty. Right. Okay. So what happened? Basically, everything came up to avenge what was one hound left. So they need to make sure that they killed my guys off before I took the first strike from that. So all the hounds and the Bloodthirster came right wrapping around my unit over there. He made all his charges, so there was 2 or 3 units of hounds, including the one that was down to 1, and Bloodthirster in that attack. The heralds come up just to make sure that he's lending his buffs and kind of keeping in a good position. These guys over here stole the relic, moved back through here. They have in fact dropped it and run off, but they're still not far from it, so you know that's all good. The nasty bloodletters that I took for granted have kind of staggered across to make sure they're holding that objective. And these hounds ran across here into the ruins, assaulting my Gene Stealers, and taking all of them out as well. So Ryan's feeling there, just eating, just feeling chilled, you know. As I said, I was just absolutely giving him too much of a hard list. But never mind, it's, we're having a ball anyway, it's an absolute blast. And we're on a time limit anyway, so I'm making sure he's going to kill me quick. And I'm sticking to that excuse. So I didn't mention, so basically my objectives, I needed to kill a unit and have a unit in his deployment zone. That wasn't going to happen because my guy died early in the first turn, but kill a unit I thought was potentially on, but after being multi-assaulted by everybody, my guys obviously went down there losing that chance as well. So I didn't score any. Ryan needs to kill a unit and hold his objective, which will almost certainly happen, so he should get 2 Maelstrom. I don't think I'm going to be able to avoid doing that, but we'll see how much damage we do. Well, you've got the Swarmlord at hand, and we've got some nice nasty psychic powers that potentially we can do some damage to these guys. We'll see. They have got their collar, so it's still going to be hard to get it through, but we'll see what we can do as we go into Tyranid turn 2. Right guys, so end of Tyranid turn 2. It's an action-packed game, a lot's going on. So in counter we decided to try and meet this Khorne threat head on. Swarmlord and the Gene Stealers have all come out of their ruins. So had the old big guys as well, just to try and put some heat on. I sacrificed both of my Maelstroms to try and go for kill 3 units, so I was going big or go home, because I didn't get any Maelstrom points on my first turn, and Ryan got both of his, so we thought we'd put some pressure on. So these guys came forward, so did these guys. These guys came forward as well, and what we did then in the psychic phase, well, before we did that, we vector striked the big guy. And we did manage to take a so we vector strike the one single hound, killing him, which was good. So he died, which was happy days, because that was one of my kills needed, so that was good. And then in the psychic phase we got Feel No Pain off on to the Stealers, which was good, and that was kind of that. Nothing else. We tried to do a couple of Warp Blasts, didn't get anywhere with that. And because I missed my actual shooting, even though I got it through. In the shooting, the Hive Tyrant put shots back into Bloodthirster, took him down. He's now 3 wounds, so you know that's good stuff. So we're getting there slowly but surely. We're doing fantastic if we've made the charge, but we'll come back to that in a minute. So shooting these guys unleashed on the Bloodletters, actually doing really, really well. Only 2 Bloodletters left. I almost got that kill. So that was close. But obviously these guys now are dead meat, as the hounds will pounce on them, no doubt. But they tried. They did what they could. Over here, the guys came forward, as we said. When it came to charges, unfortunately the 2 units of Steelers did not make it in. So 1 unit did make it in, but the Swarm Lord and this big unit of Steelers, did not make it in. So these guys did dispatch their unit of hounds, which was good. The big guys with the hammers and the scythes actually did incredibly well. We only took 1 wound, and we did decimate a lot of that unit. There are 3 left there. We took a lot of wounds, and one of them's obviously just down to 1 wound as well. But they're hanging in there, and that stopped me from gaining my 3 objective points, which was a killer. But it was close. We almost made it. It was the right move to make. I'm pleased that we made that move, but just fell down. So we're now going to be ready for another onslaught. So I'm not sure what's going to be left at the end of this turn. Ryan's feeling confident. He's waiting. He's waiting. This could be a turn 3 massacre, but we'll see what happens now as we go into Demons turn 2. Okay guys, so I'm hurting here. This is painful. I'm just taking an absolute beating at the end of turn 2 for Demons. I can't believe it's only turn 2 because I don't have very much left, if I'm honest. So on the counter, after me not managing to get enough into combat, these guys basically swept round into 1 unit of Gene Stealers with the Broodlord, and then the other hounds that were up there have then rushed in to help their guys against the big guys with the hammers and the scythes. The big unit of guys that I had here in the minute that have been trying to deal with the bloodletters, as expected, the hounds came out of here and took on them. So basically, as you can see, pretty much very little Stealers or very much anything left. These hounds absolutely wiped out the cultists. Very easy. I mean, the amount of attacks these guys get from the formation and all the extra buffs, these guys are like 5 attacks base, 5 attacks when they get all their buffs. They were just literally ridiculous amounts of attacks. The Bloodthirster dashed in, and he on his own obliterated the whole unit of Steelers and the Broodlord with instant death and all sorts. So, and because he's choosing to use his relics rather than actually his D-Thirster blade, he's hitting them first and he's wiping them all out. So this is not so good. And these guys here, we did okay, passed a lot of Feel No Pain, but just weight attacks, and especially with Karanak in that unit, meant that it was no good. It was no good at all. So at the end of that turn, Ryan gets his points because he sacrificed to go. He went for 3 kills. He sacrificed both his objectives to get that, and obviously it's still my turn to play before he scores that, but he's already killed his 3 units and almost 4, so he'll get that easily, no problem at all. I've had to try and get 3 units and I didn't get mine, so I will fail that. I'm going to have to re-roll, but to be honest, the game is now gone, but we'll see what we can do. I'm going to really try if I can take the head from that Herald, because he keeps buffing this whole unit, and try and finish with some pride. But for you guys who think that I bring the cheese all the time to my opponent, you can see now I'm a nice guy, aren't I, Ryan? I'm a nice guy.
Great guy.
I'm a nice guy because I've just let this guy bully me for 2 turns. So yeah. But that's all good. That's about being a good host. So we'll see. Let's see how we can do. See if we can actually pull some modesty out of this game, because I'm going to try and take some heads in this next turn as we go into Tyranid turn 3. Okay guys, an absolute brutal turn. It's a very fun game with there's blood being spilt everywhere. So I managed to absolutely hold some pride up. The Maelstrom missions I got were almost irrelevant because they were all objective ones, and actually Ryan's run away with the objectives. So there's no point in that because he's tarnished everything with his goddamn demon rules. So I can't get to anything. So that's a foregone conclusion because that rule is horrendous. But what we did do was we all steamed in over this way, so everything got as close as possible. We used Psychic Scream from the Swarm Lord. We took some serious damage on the Warlord, on the Bloodthirster. He went down to 1 wound, and then the Hive Tyrant that had come to the ground then pumped his Devourer shots through and finished off the Bloodthirster. We then everything charged in, everything made it into combat, obviously apart from the Hive Tyrant that just can't charge this turn. And the Swarm Lord challenged out the Herald, even though they struck at the same time, and the Swarm Lord did lose 3 wounds because that guy is a beast. But the Swarm Lord did instant death him, and wounds rolled over and killed quite a few of the other guys. The Steelers pretty much did the rest, left 1 dog who valiantly attacked back for Khorne, but didn't manage to do any damage. before being brought down by the fact that he's failed his test massively and died. So that was a great turn for me. Held a bit of pride there, so we'll have a little bit more to play for, but now we are absolutely going to get assaulted by every dog on the board, and we'll see whether we can hold up, because I think this will be the last turn. So we'll see what happens now as we go into turn 3 for Corn. Right. Okay guys, so we're just having a laugh because it's been a good game. So we're at the end of turn 3 for Corn, and that's all it is. I have just called it, but it's been a brutal last combat. So as you can see, all the dogs, every single dog he had went in for the kill. So the only thing they didn't assault was the Tyrant, as he kind of calculated that he wasn't going to do that much next turn because he was on the ground, and really to get anywhere, if he went in combat he'd probably die. To go to the relic, he's going to get died next turn by these guys with AP3 weapons. So he's pretty much in no man's land. He's only going to run around shooting, and there's only so much damage he can do. So he assaulted both the Swarm Lord and the Gene Stealers and the Malanthrope, and even though the Swarm Lord did absolutely cut the head of Karanak before he went down, the mass weight of attacks was just too much for him, so he did go down eventually to, even though he took Karanak's attacks like a boss, he went down to dogs, so the dogs killed him. He only had 2 wounds left, so he went down. And the Malanthrope did hang in there on 1 wound. Ryan rolled really badly, to be fair, so he did last out, but to be fair, he 1 wound left against all those dogs. He was never going to get anywhere. Even if he got really lucky next turn, he'd then get every single dog on him the turn after, so that wasn't really worth it. And the Tyrant, obviously, he was not going to get there. So it was a resounding victory for Corn. My list was way too tough, I brought for him, but as we've just been saying, I'm just being a actual gentleman, a British gentleman, with this yank who's come in to annihilate me in my own house.
America.
But yeah,
we're celebrating our Independence Day.
Yeah, exactly. But it's been a lot of fun. That's what it's all about. We've had some beers, had a good time. It's been a fun game. Hope you've enjoyed watching it. It is a victory to Corn, and until the next video, I'll see you again soon.
Blood for the Blood God. Blood for the Blood God.